There are two types of battles. The first adds to war casualty, and the second changes the very course of the war, like the Battle of Stalingrad during the Second World War, which shifted the course of the war for the German army. Now, while the battle for Bakhmut is not of a scale as epic as Stalingrad, it is historic nonetheless. And its importance can be measured by the ferocity of the Russian attack and the intensity of Ukraine's defense. You see, the fighting has been going on for 7 long and bloody months. Both the sides have put in their all. Bakhmut has become a testing ground for Russia's new age weapons and Ukraine's resistance. A stalemate, contrary claims, and 7 months later, one side appears to have moved the scale in its favor. Listen in.
It is April 2nd, 11 sharp. Behind me is Bakhmut City Administration Building. This is a Russian flag. It says on the flag, in good memory of Vladimir Tatarsky. From a legal point of view, we have taken Bakhmut, and the commanders of the units that took the administration building and the whole central district will carry and put up those flags. The flag of PMC Wagner. They were the guys who took Bakhmut. From a legal point of view, it is ours.
That was the Wagner chief, Yevgeny Prigozhin. He claims to have captured Bakhmut, most of Bakhmut. And the immediate question is, what is Ukraine saying? Not much, actually.
I thank our soldiers who are fighting near Avdiivka, Marinka, Bakhmut, especially Bakhmut. It's especially hot there today.
Like we often tell you on Gravitas, leaders don't really say what they mean, and they don't really mean what they say. Zelensky here is leaving you to fill in the blanks between those vague words. So are we to believe that Bakhmut has fallen? One thing is clear, Ukraine will never look the same again. Just look at where Bakhmut is located on the map. The control of this city enables Russia to cut Ukraine out of Donetsk. So is this the beginning of the end of Ukraine as we know it? And let me tell you why I ask this question. One, because of the domino effect that's waiting to happen. And number two, because chances are Ukraine may not be able to win back Bakhmut and the other strategic towns. We will tell you why. Let's start with the domino effect. Not too long ago, Volodymyr Zelensky had told a US media outlet that soon after Bakhmut, Russia could, quote-unquote, go to Kramatorsk. They could go to Sloviansk. It would be an open road for the Russians after Bakhmut to other towns in Ukraine in the Donetsk direction. And he is right. Now that Bakhmut has fallen, it may not be long before the Russian troops and the Wagner men march to Sloviansk, followed by Kramatorsk. Remember, already has Soledar, Mariupol, and Melitopol, and most of this region. So do you think Ukraine will be able to win back any of these cities? Of course, Ukraine has had successful counter-offensives in the past, but that is the past. A repeat in the future may seem over-ambitious. Ask yourself this question. For how long can a country continue to fight another while depending on a third and a fourth country? My point is, today Ukraine is 101% dependent on the West to fuel this war. For every war-related resource, the only resource Ukraine has is human resource. And this human resource also has now suffered a setback. You see, it was not for nothing that Zelensky would refer to Bakhmut as Ukraine's fort and the country's emblem of resistance. The fall of Bakhmut has not only come with a loss of prestige, but also a deep sense of moral loss. Also, Ukrainian troops are caught in a supply chain crisis. So much so that Ukraine is running out of artillery ammunition. We have been telling you for a while now that Ukraine is exhausting weapons at an alarming rate. More than the US or the NATO can produce these weapons. Ukraine faces the high possibility of running out of shells by the end of this year unless the West miraculously ramps up its production at warp speed. And just how likely is that? So far, the West has sent aid and equipment worth nearly $50 billion. And a lot of the recent war machines were promised, keeping in mind the volatile situation in Bakhmut. You see, Bakhmut allowed Zelensky to ask for more and more. The Leopards, howitzers, tanks, aircraft. And now, with the fall of Bakhmut, how much will the West be willing to or be able to afford to send to Ukraine? So Ukraine is losing arms, its morale, its personnel, its cities. What's left? Is it just Bakhmut, or is Ukraine starting to lose the war? Have a look at this. This is a recent video of Bakhmut. Nothing is left there. Many Ukrainian towns have been reduced to rubble. Around 30% of the country's population has been displaced, and the Russians are not done. You see, the Kremlin knows its limits, knows how much is achievable. After all, this is a country Russia has been fighting since 2014, since Crimea. But Russia also knows how much more it can push its luck. How much is within reach, and currently eastern Ukraine definitely is. So we are back to the question, what's next? Some analysts we spoke to tell us that we may want to consider the possibility of Ukraine being divided into two along the Dnipro River, with eastern and southern parts to Russia, along with the Black Sea and whatever remains of Ukraine brought under the NATO protection. What else? We are told it may be only a matter of time and maybe a couple of more cities before Zelensky is forced to reach out to the Chinese President Xi Jinping to talk to Putin, negotiate, and bring an end to this war. And we know for a fact that the Chinese peace plan does not involve withdrawal of Russian troops. It also does not involve returning of cities, nor does it guarantee a Ukraine that once was. I know what some of you are thinking. Can a single battle be so decisive? You see, it is not for nothing that we are calling Bakhmut historic. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.